All right. And we're live in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody. No Handle, episode number 7. I'm your host, KC. We got our special guest, Remy, joining me with Vito, as always. So we just want to welcome Rem. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Miss you to death, brother. So why don't you tell us a little bit how life's going in Chicago?
Well, first and foremost, guys, thanks for having me. Huge fan of the show since day one. The first episode you guys put out there, I was just really stoked for my boys. Back from Hackettstown High School, doing something really special in my opinion. But no, life has been good. Since I graduated college, I moved to Cincinnati for a short time with my work, doing some medical device sales. And 14 months later, I ended up moving to Chicago. So I'm coming up on a year in Chicago now. And life in Chicago is really good, man. It's a really fun city. Living about a mile from Wrigley Field. So it's a lot of fun. Just got.
Oh, we lost Rem already.
Wait, he's back in.
Oh, yeah, Rem, you just got lost for a second. Continue.
Where'd you lose me?
We like 2 seconds.
Mile from Wrigley.
Yeah,
right, life is good. Living a mile from Wrigleyville. Yeah, man, just working, grinding. Just got engaged to my now fiance, Gabby Henyon.
Congrats.
Yeah, congrats, buddy.
Love it.
Thank you. So, yeah, a lot of the viewers know Gabby. Also want to give a special birthday shout out to our boy, Josh Booker, the
Joshy.
Bear.
Oh, it's his birthday? I didn't even know. Happy birthday, Joshy.
Happy B-Day, buddy.
25th birthday to Josh. But yeah, man, keeping busy. This quarantine has been a little unprecedented. And I'm sure we have a ton of things to talk about on the show about that. So excited to be here. Super proud of you guys and big fan of the show.
Awesome.
Yeah, pleasure to have you, Rem.
Vito, any opening statements?
No, I mean, it's good to be back. It's nice that, Kyle, you found this streaming service. This is awesome. We should use this moving forward. It's just good to be back and, talking whatever we can talk, obviously not sports, but maybe we'll dive into a little bit of sports at the end here, but it's going to be mostly, what's going on right now with the coronavirus and, this whole pandemic. And then we'll dive into stocks and whatnot and just kind of mix it up what we've been doing too during our quarantine. And yeah, it should be a good podcast.
It's a good thing that we got our correspondent in Chicago, who is our medical expert, Remington Safarpour. Can you give us a little bit about your job description and your experience before you start telling people all about the virus?
Yeah. So I'm afraid if I did that, your viewers might not believe me as much, but it's a little bit about me, right? I wear scrubs, but I'm not a medical professional, right? I just gel my hair. But I've, in college, studied biology, chemistry, was all about it. Was on my way.
Those classes sucked, bro. I took them too.
Oh, dude, so rough. Hey, those scars, they last forever. And so does that interest. So, I work every day in hospitals in the Chicago area, which has been definitely affected by this coronavirus. It's definitely affected my day-to-day life. Full disclaimer, I work in the operating room. I'm not in the operating room anymore just because, one of the measures that's been taken by this is canceling elective surgeries unless it's, emergent. So that's a little bit about my background and, part of the reason why you guys found it suitable for having me on the show today.
I love it. So, are there any differences, would you say, from the way that New Jersey's handling the situation as opposed to Illinois and around Chicago that you know of?
Yeah. So, dude, good question. Like Chicago, like New Jersey, is a very densely populated city. And because of that, it defines a lot of what the state of Illinois does. So for that reason, right out of the gates, it has been, pretty much locked down. We've been stay at home, which I'm pretty sure you guys in New Jersey have been doing the same thing, right? Like we've been on a stay at home for almost 2 weeks now, I want to say.
Yeah, besides essential businesses, but
Right.
But meanwhile, I could still work, which is weird. Like landscaping services are are allowed. And I was talking about on the last podcast how like we were working in town and literally like it's so weird around like 4:30. I know it's just Hackettstown, but like around 4:35, like not a single car on the road, and it's just like sketchy. Like you're like, are we in a war or something?
Are you guys
Type
allowed
of
to
war.
work though? Like I
We
thought
are.
only required personnel are allowed to.
See, at first, I just assumed when I heard the announcement on Sunday from Murph, and he was saying like we don't need to, yeah, Murph, but we don't need to, or he was saying that everybody non-essential should be quarantined. But then I looked at an article that was posted on NJ.gov, and it said like certain businesses are still allowed, and landscaping services was one of them. So we saw that we're still open. We're still putting in patios. You know it.
Dude, patios absolutely essential, especially with day drinking season right around the corner.
It's essential. Exactly.
Now's the time to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's got to be done.
All right, boys. So let's get into our main questions that I writ up for you guys. What are your thoughts on the overall impact of the virus in the United States? We'll start off domestically, then move to worldwide.
Okay, just in the U.S.
All right, Rem, you go first.
Yeah, so I think, domestically, like obviously right out of the gates, the first thing that you saw was, I think it was the NBA, right? The NBA got canceled. And I think for me, that was like the first, shock. Like this thing had been in China, but domestically that hit close to home. And then sure enough, 2 days later, my flights to, in the summer to Las Vegas were half the price. A flight to Seattle was half the price. And so at first you're like, oh, this is kind of nice. Like, we might be staying at home for a little bit, but, on the other side, some of these things we're getting at a bargain, like all these flights. I was going to fly home. I was going to fly. And then sure enough, over the weekend, things start to pile up. It becomes clearly more serious. I'm not going to work anymore. And I'm just like, all right, this is it. And for that first week that we were all at home, I don't know about you guys, but watching the news was like, I was glued to it. Like it was hard to look away. It was like a train wreck, right? I don't know how you guys
Sure.
Yeah, first time in a while. Yeah, like I actually sat down and watched the news, and like you said, we're glued to it.
Absolutely. So I mean, in my opinion, I don't think we're even seeing the light at the end of the tunnel yet. But I don't know, Dean, if you want to talk about international, my thoughts on national is that we're just going to have to keep hunkering down and, just let this thing play out. And less is more at this point.
Yeah.
All right. Vito, what do you got to say, boy?
So I'm just looking at hardcore stats right here. So the U.S. just took over the #1 spot in confirmed cases in the world. U.S. first with 83,000, China with 81,000, Italy 80,000, and then Spain 57, and then so on. But that U.S. taking over that #1 spot over China is pretty scary. A week ago, I mean, this thing has just spiked so tremendously. And like Remy said, I don't even think we're in the midst of it yet. This is only going to get worse still before it does get better. Confirmed deaths right now. New York is ranked in the top 10 right now in total deaths compared to other countries internationally, just to give you an idea. Total deaths of this virus internationally is almost 24,000. So, I mean, it's definitely a real thing. People should be worried about it, taking the precautions that need to be taken to avoid it. And yeah, I mean, it's a real thing. This could really touch home, especially if any of your family members are obviously older in age or have any other ailments in their health, lungs, not being the best, smoking for years. blood sugar being low, whatever the case, if you have any sort of physical ailment, this virus can definitely be deadly to those people. So do what you can, stay protected, stay healthy, and we'll all get through this.
Yeah, I mean, you guys made some good points, and like you were saying, Rem, I think the real time where people realized how serious this was going to be is when the NBA got canceled. We talked about this last podcast in the beginning with Joe and Kenny, but after that, it spiraled out of control, and like you said, really when the NBA got canceled, like I started taking it way more seriously than the day before. Like
Right.
the day before that, I didn't
Yeah.
even think much of it. I was like, whatever,
Right.
This actually brings us into our next topic. What makes this virus so unique? Because there's been so many other viruses, like such as H1N1, SARS, MERS, Ebola, bird flu, etc., that
Mhm.
have really devastated. Like the bird flu devastated and killed hundreds of thousands of people in the world. So,
Right.
what makes this virus so unique as opposed to the other ones, Rem?
Yeah, absolutely. So great question. So this isn't our first pandemic. It's our first pandemic in a while. And at least in my memory, it's the only pandemic that's affected this close to home, right? So we talk about H1N1, which people more commonly call that swine flu, like 2009. That was a type of influenza, right? So influenza A. Bird flu was also influenza. Influenza A, H1N1 was came up in 2009, and then H5N1 was the one that they call the bird flu. Right. So what makes this one unique is it is actually a coronavirus. So coronavirus is just a name for the family of viruses that is of this particular shape. And if you guys, I'm sure you guys watch memes. I know your listeners definitely see
Not
memes.
me, bro. Not me,
No,
bro.
you're meme free.
Nah.
You're a weirdo, bro.
I'm anti-meme. I'm anti-meme.
Dude, I don't know. I don't know if you want that getting out to your listeners, bro. Like, people love me.
Just start looking at you different.
Start making memes of me, and then I'll look at them.
All right. Deal.
All right, Rem, continue.
The host is a narcissist, I guess. But so the coronavirus, basically what that is any virus that is, they say corona is like in Latin means crown or halo, and it's got that like crown or halo around it. It kind of makes it look like a sun almost, right? So this, on the news, you'll hear them say novel coronavirus. It means it's never been seen before in humans. And this coronavirus, largely what we think is that it came from a certain type of bat. And how we know that is that the genetic makeup of this coronavirus had like a 96% matching profile to that found in bats, right? So COVID-19, meaning coronavirus from 2019, they found this in December 31st, 2019 in Wuhan, China, right? It got passed probably from somebody eating something that had been infected by this. So
what was that animal called? That anteater type looking thing?
Pangolin.
A penguin, exactly, Rem.
A penguin.
Exactly.
Yeah, somebody ate a penguin. No, but so some good news, right? I read this the other day. Apparently China like just recently outlawed the consumption of pangolins like through this whole thing. So like
wow.
if that's true, good on you, China. Keep it up because you fucked up a lot of shit. But yeah, this virus now, it attacks our breathing pathways, and people that are immunocompromised, so sick or older people, their lungs can get swollen, similar to like pneumonia. And in the news they talk about N95 masks, ventilators. These are all things that are important for one, the medical personnel to not transmit the virus themselves, but also for the patient. It just makes their life a little bit easier because when your lungs are inflamed like that, it's hard to get good breaths of oxygen in and then expel that CO2 out. So you see like Elon Musk is now buying ventilators from China and donating them to the state of California, or and we'll talk about this maybe a little bit in stocks, but like Dyson, that really cool vacuum cleaner company, is making ventilators now. And like, if you've seen their vacuum cleaners, they could probably make a pretty fucking good ventilator as well.
Yeah, I saw that. They look a lot different too than like a normal ventilator does.
What was
cool.
Tesla and GM Motors? What were they involved in making? I know it was something along the lines of helping everybody out. I don't know what exactly it was. Was it ventilators?
Yes.
Tesla was making some new and improved ventilator or something like that.
So yeah, people wanted Elon Musk, so CEO of Tesla. They wanted him because, dude, he's like a genius, right?
The GOAT.
Yeah, bro. He's making cars and he's making rocket ships. Like, I'm sure he could figure it out.
He's fixing a lot of first world problems.
Exactly. So they wanted him to make a ventilator, but I think what he ended up doing was just like taking his money and sourcing ventilators in China and then sending them to the United States. But yeah, people were like, dude, Elon Musk could probably make a pretty good ventilator, but I think he felt that
I'm sure he could.
Yeah, I think
make a rocket and he can make 3D printing robots that go to Mars, but you can't make a ventilator, bro. Come on, get on your game.
He can. He just doesn't want to. That's not a good use of his time, right?
Exactly.
That's
I mean, this is the same guy that wanted to like keep his production lines open during this whole thing, and was kind of downplaying the entire thing throughout it. He tweeted,
that whole tweet. Yeah,
maybe that's a good thing. If Elon Musk is downplaying something, it's probably not as big of a deal as we think.
Well, clearly not.
I feel like
he was wrong about this.
No, but listen, he is all about like the betterment of the human race. Like that's like what he was on Rogan, like talking specifically about that. Like he does things solely for the betterment of the human race. So if he's not acting like it's a big deal, maybe it's not that as big of a deal as we think.
But
hey, I'm just
trying to get some population control here. Population control, maybe that's for the betterment of
he lives near LA. Maybe that's why.
So now you're just trying to downplay
it. There's plenty. So there's plenty of conspiracy theories around this too. Plenty of conspiracy theories.
Yeah. I was reading one. I wouldn't say it's conspiracy theory, but something they thought as soon as this virus started to spread. Was, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like China's wet markets. Basically, it's a mixture of these live and also dead animals that millions of people come to these markets and purchase live or dead animals. So there's a lot of diseases floating around in these wet markets. Huge. And they're
like
all
square
over
miles.
Yeah, so really, I guess what they thought was, this coronavirus started in these wet markets. Like Remy said, it started from a bat. They confirmed that. So I mean, who's to know? They say it didn't start in the market, but they kind of investigated that and kind of proved that elsewhere. But I mean, these markets are absolutely disgusting anyway. So as far as like limiting these markets or even shutting some down. They already did, obviously, because this outbreak, but I think that would be a great idea just to prevent future viruses in happening. Because, I mean, you get all these dead animals and live animals together with humans, something's going to mix up. And I mean, there's going to be another probably pandemic that could stem from that. So, controlling that now will only help us in the future. And I mean, it's absolutely disgusting. I don't know why anyone would ever buy animals and eat them from there. It's pretty gross.
Dude, that's a good point.
China, bro.
Like, dude, these health organizations, and one thing that's important to talk about is like these health organizations, when they predict or estimate where these things come from, those are highlighted from the get-go. Like a lot of sci-fi movies that simulate, a world pandemic, like the plot is based on a wet market in China. Like there's good science like backing that this is where these things start. It's because it's unsanitary, and that's why we have the Food and Drug Administration monitoring this stuff so that big spills like this that are slowing down the world as it is doesn't happen again. So like
there's real quick, there's multiple people who have books from forgive me, I forget their names, from like 2017, from like 2015, literally saying that this is going to happen. Like,
Right.
I think the guy was from the
CDC.
CDC. Yeah, the
Yeah, are you
CDC.
talking about the guy
And
that was on Joe Rogan's podcast?
yeah,
In the book in 2017, Michael something. I forget his
but, like,
his
he
last
literally
name.
like pulled up pages of this book saying like there's gonna be a virus coming from Wuhan, China. Like
He named it. Yeah,
he literally
pinpointed it.
on the dot, like hit it the hammer on the nail. Like it was, and nobody took any claim to it. Like we did nothing about it. The whole United States, like he's been warning all of us about this exact thing that's happening now, and yet the government doesn't prepare ourselves for it. And I really hope this opens the government's eyes and all the people in America. We got to be ready for the next one. And we were talking about this yesterday. If there's a virus that comes out with a 60% fatality rate, then we're really in trouble, especially if we're not going to be prepared. So
Exactly.
more money needs to go into the health system, the healthcare system. And that's like the amount of money that goes into our defense. I think it's around like $650 billion a year, something insane. And we only have about $2 billion going into healthcare. Think about that. If let's say China or Russia did this on purpose and like used it, they could easily overtake us, like with some sort of biological weapon like this. If we don't have the things to prepare or be ready for it, what's going to stop? Like that would be our weakness in war.
Exactly.
So I think like even in the idea of defense, like you're still putting money towards defense if it goes to healthcare. It's just a different kind of defense. So I hope Americans realize and we can like vote or something on this and get it in the works for just preparation for next time.
Right. And let me say one more thing on that. Like biological warfare is something that's talked about. It's something that's been tested on in the past, even by the United States. Like some of the things that
the Germans with like the gas too, right?
Exactly, dude. There's a history of it for sure. And like, not to get too conspiracy ridden, but like at first I just thought it was so strange that Russia like was reporting no cases. North Korea was reporting no cases. I was just like, this is either maybe it's something that's instrumented, but like also, maybe it's just something that, maybe it's a communist country or something, dictator. They don't want to appear weak. You know what I mean? So they're just
not attributed to just lack of testing, like reliable testing. Could that be what that is?
Dude, yeah. It also could be the government saying like, dude, first of all, I'm a huge skeptic that the United States just passed China in total cases. Like just play the numbers game, bro. Like China's got billions of people. I think at one point they were probably just like, all right, enough reporting this. We're looking pretty bad right now.
Yeah,
dude, like that they're probably like, oh my gosh, we're getting beat down.
Yeah, like enough. All right, yeah, enough tests. Like we're getting fucked by this.
Yeah, so I don't know, but at the end of the day, it's affecting life as we know it, and it's definitely going to change the way I think moving forward. Like I was talking to Dean right before I hopped on this, bro. I touch my face so many times in a day because of my beard. Like moving forward, I've got to move away from that. Like I'm gonna wash my hands all the time, bro.
Just for any disease, yeah. Like
I've been notorious for biting my nails like my whole life, and since this started happening, like I slowed down, but I still can't stop completely. But like it's just
I've been doing the same thing.
It changes the way everyone thinks this type of virus, and especially with the media blowing it up like the way that it has been. And the USA now is the leading country for cases. We better watch ourselves. And that brings me into our next question, because this is something that really has been bothering me. And I said it last podcast. I think I said it in the one before that when we first started talking. I don't think we're taking nearly as serious measures as we have to. I mentioned it last time for anyone who was listening. If some states don't do the shutdown at the same time as other states, and let's say we do it for 2 weeks in New Jersey and we open back up, after 2 weeks, and then some other country or other state like Ohio or anywhere in the Midwest, then they do their shutdown at a different time. People are still going to be hopping state borders and stuff. It's not going to work unless we do it as a nation. And I'd like to hear your guys' thoughts on that.
Yeah,
Do you think there's any do you think these measures being taken by the state and federal governments are enough to limit the spread of this virus to be able to be containable, or is it just going to blow out of proportion? Dean, you go first.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. Like, as a nation, there should be set rules for this because it's affecting the whole entire nation. But I mean, at the same time, you're going to have people who are going to completely ignore all these, rules that the government will put in place. I mean, you just look on like Instagram or Snapchat, you still see people hanging out with like a group of people. Maybe they're just naive to it. Maybe they just don't care. I mean, whatever the case is, people are still, gathering in groups, which, is clearly not okay. You got to try to limit your group size to, 10 people, and just, you got to be hygienic with that and really watch yourself, because it comes down to the individual, and we have to work as a nation. Yes. But it comes down to, the individual, and they have to do their part in quarantining themselves. And that's what it comes down to.
So,
you can put as many rules in place as you want, but are the people going to abide to it?
So again, are the state and federal governments doing enough? That's what I asked you.
I know, but what I'm saying is
yes or no.
Yeah, I think they are. As far as like the medical field goes, and the rules that are in place, could they be doing more? Yeah, but like I said, to my point, it doesn't matter if they do more. People are still gonna be naive to it and do whatever they want and hang out with their friends. You see it on Snapchat and Instagram already.
Yeah, but maybe if they did it as like a federal thing, more people would listen. That's like what I'm talking about. I like a few states going in a shutdown does not scare the whole country. Everybody in the other states don't give a shit. They're like, we live in
That's
fucking
true.
Montana. Why is this going to affect us? If President Trump comes out and says we need a national shutdown, a lot of people are going to listen. And that, I mean, a lot more people at least. And you're right.
That's true,
not everybody.
I agree with that.
You're right. Not everybody is going to listen, but for sure,
More
a lot
people
more people would.
Yeah.
All right, Rem. Let me hear your thoughts.
So, I mean, that's something they were actively trying to avoid. And the first state that comes to mind is Florida. Florida was late to the game on all of this, bro. I mean, like Dean mentioned, the Snapchats of spring break were insane. And it's kind of funny, but like also really sad, really, really sad that you're seeing articles now like all these spring breakers are testing for coronavirus. And it's like, we laugh,
exactly.
But like, how many of those spring breakers live with their parents? And if you're in college, the chances are your parents are 50 years plus, which even if you don't have symptoms, I mean, like, dude, I picked up the phone today and one of my coworkers, college buddies, who is in his 40s, is on a ventilator. Like, this is serious. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But Kyle, I do agree with you. It would be nice if we had the blanket statement, like, let's go into national lockdown. But that was something they want to avoid because, like you said, social distancing in New York versus social distancing in Iowa and Montana are completely different things. Like,
Facts.
completely different things, right? So, like, President Trump, I don't think he wanted to apply that across the board. Like, he believed in the governors to, deem as they see fit. Did all governors rise to the occasion? I don't think so. Like, there's definitely glaring examples of, people messing up. And who does that hurt, right? It hurts the people that are going to get sick, like seriously ill from this, not like stay at home and quarantine for 14 days, but people that have to go to the hospitals, right? And this is where we talk about flattening the curve. So now you've got all these new patients coming in the hospital at once. Hospitals might only have 50 to 100 ICU beds available. Mo, thank you. Let's go. They might only have 50 to 100 ICU beds available. Well, now the nurses that go home and are relatively healthy have to go check on these patients. And to throw that in the mix, they're running out of masks. So then they're reusing masks, getting the virus, and then going home and spreading it more. And then who's going to treat those people when the nurses are sick? So it's just like, it's a straight domino effect. All in all, I hope that we're doing the right things. But the latest that I've heard is that we want to reassess this at Easter, which is in 2 weeks. I don't think that's enough time. Like, plain and simple.
Definitely not.
President Trump, he's literally saying that we're going to be up and running by Easter. I don't see how that's physically possible. There's no way that if we, and he said social distancing is still going to be a thing when we're back. Like, recently he said that, but then what do you mean we're all going to be back? Like, what are you talking about? If everyone's going to work, the same things are going to happen. Like, that's why if we did a national shutdown a week ago, which is when we should have started this, we'd already be a week into it. We'd only have a week left. And then we'd know everybody who is sick, and we'd be able to have them in the hospitals. And yeah, it might keep spreading at least a little, but that curve would be flattened to fuck. So it really does. This actually has been bothering me for days now, because I just keep seeing it get worse and worse. And I know like everything already happened. Like, if it takes 2 weeks to show symptoms, like, this is just what was happening before we shut everything down that we're seeing now. But still, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. We got to do more, I believe.
Yeah. And back to your point about like the president coming out and saying something, the last thing we need is Trump saying everything will be okay in the next 2 weeks. Because then people are going to start believing that. And then they're going to start going on with their normal days. And it's really going to be not okay. And they're going to start spreading this virus even more. It's going to take even longer.
All right. Let's move on to our next topic. Do you guys believe that AI could be used to find a vaccine? Certain AI companies. Do you know anything about this, Rem?
Remy, yeah, I know you wanted to dive in this.
So the short answer is yes, but not this soon. Definitely not this soon. I mean, AI as it stands is definitely still a work in progress. Even just artificial intelligence in general, right? Let alone.
Let me just preface this by saying AI recently created its first vaccine successfully for OCD, and it's had successful impacts. It just did this recently, the past 2 years. So they have used it, and it has found vaccines. But the main issue, I'll just preface this by saying, is that there's not enough information, because, as you said before, it's a novel coronavirus. So it's a new thing. They don't have enough information and a big enough database to be able to find the correct thing yet. But they do believe it could be faster than us doing it ourselves. Sorry, Ram. Continue.
No, 100%. So, I mean, and that's the point, right? That's the point of artificial intelligence is, it can learn way faster than we do because of just, playing the numbers game, right? Like, the law of averages say if you can do 1,000 times more than us and just repeat that, it's like Madden simulations, right? You can simulate so many games in like the time it takes, to play one Madden game. You can simulate 1,000, right? And that's kind of what AI is. So do I think it's possible? Yes. And why I think it's possible is because, sure, like, the reason why we get a different flu vaccine every year is because the flu changes a little bit year to year, right? Influenza. Same with these coronaviruses, but there is some similarity still based, in these coronaviruses. There are a similar makeup. So if an AI can find a vaccine to target that similar base of coronavirus, then I think it's possible. I just don't think we have enough information yet, enough analytics or, numbers to base this off of.
How about this, Ram?
Oh, here we go, Joshy. Dropping some knowledge here.
How about that? Will it work?
Right. So Josh is, shout out to the birthday boy, Josh.
Let's go, Josh.
On No Handle. So that's, first of all, speaks a lot to the podcast and its reach if people are tuning in on their birthday. But I've heard
happy
that,
birthday. Let's just make this a statement. Happy birthday, Josh.
Happy birthday,
Love you,
Joshy.
kid. Love you, kid. Looking to have you on sometime.
For sure.
All right, Rem. Continue.
So yeah, I mean, people are getting experimental. I'll just say this: it's a little dangerous. It's a little dangerous, right? Like somebody I read in the news, somebody was trying to make their own cocktail of like vaccine or cure their symptoms, and this couple ended up dying from it. So like that's like the last thing you want, right? Like people mixing shit in their
From that
in their
fish.
basement.
But
Yeah,
but
whatever, like
wasn't
that
that
fish
wasn't that
chemicals.
literally the different type of the medicine, which was an aquarium fish tank cleaner that they took?
Yeah, and like here's word to the wise: like if you buy anything at a fish tank store, don't ingest it, right? Like that is probably like the
That
most
seems
basic.
pretty intuitive.
That's like
pretty
level.
intuitive.
Yeah, it's good logic.
That's level 1 shit, right?
Oh Jesus. We love you too, buddy. We love you
Love
too.
you, Joshy.
Oh, look at Danny even showing his love. I love it.
Hey.
Cheers.
All right. This is a little bit off topic right here, but I think it's a good question. So I'd like to see your guys' opinions on it. Do you guys believe in universal basic income? If AI continues to take off, it will take a lot of jobs.
Wow.
Rem, you first.
This
is on the spot.
It's deep. That's a very deep question.
Dude, is this Greg guy actually Andrew Yang or something?
This is Britt's fiance.
Oh, okay. All right. Universal basic income. Not my forte. I don't know. Honestly, I feel like let's see how this stimulus bill goes, right? We're all gonna get a check coming up here soon from the government, and that's kind of simulating that universal basic income. I don't know. I side on the fence. Like I think smaller government is a little bit better. I do like capitalism. I'll just say that right outright. I don't know. And I'm a little skeptic, to be honest with you.
All right. Let me say something real quick then, because I remember seeing Andrew Yang on Joe Rogan, and he's a big proponent of universal basic income.
Mm-hmm.
And I do believe that in the future, at some point, it's going to be almost a necessary thing for our country because, like Greg said, the way AI is moving now, at some point, it is going to take a lot of jobs from people, like millions and millions of jobs. If not just that, then more than half of the whole American economy could be affected, or American workers could be affected. So I do think that at some point, it's going to be almost necessary, but I don't think we're at that point yet, and I don't think it's anytime soon. So, Dean, what are your thoughts real quick?
Yeah, I don't think we have to worry about that anytime soon, but I mean, yeah, it's going to start whenever it does kind of apply to the workforce, it definitely will start taking some jobs. I mean, you think about it like this. I mean, sure, humans obviously wouldn't have to do those jobs, but those companies that are using these AI machines are going to be saving time and resources. They could then maybe take a percentage of those, kind of discounts that they're getting from having AI machines and, do this universal kind of income for U.S. citizens. So there could be something that could be worked out. But yeah, like I said, and like you say, Kyle, I don't think it's anytime soon though.
Chesney, let me add something to that.
Yeah, no problem.
I think that AI, right, technology, it's going to take jobs as we know them, right? So there's plenty of jobs today.
You make a good point. I didn't.
In 200 years, they might not exist. I mean, like, think about the airplane. The airplane took so many jobs out of the railroad markets, right? And life as we know it just changed. We continue to adapt. So sure, yeah, AI is going to take jobs as we know them, but I don't think that's going to limit, where we're going to find, how we're going to spend our time,
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah.
So we discussed COVID-19, I think, an ample amount for now. But we didn't discuss on how this is affecting the American economy. So I know, Rem, you've had you've been thinking of some methods and stuff. But first off, let's just explain what kind of effects that COVID-19 has had on the stock market so far.
Sure.
Either one. Who wants to lead off? Rem?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So
go ahead, Rem.
Stock market has been getting crushed up until recently, and largely a lot of that is based off emotion. Like our fear is ruling a lot of these short-term changes and huge drop-offs that we see in these big indexes like S&P and Dow. And some of it's warranted. Like think about airlines and hotels. Those are the two big ones. They are losing billions of dollars because people aren't getting on airplanes and people aren't staying in hotels because we can't. And that also affects restaurants and other public places that we're just not tapping into as much. So
okay. Dean, what would you like to say?
I mean, yeah, clearly the market has taken a huge toll ever since this pandemic started. But like Remy said, around this week, it definitely started to climb up in certain aspects of it. I did actually invest in a few stocks here when the market was pretty down. And
yeah, you said you bought a couple of stocks of Tesla, right?
Tesla was the one that I really like. I got it at like
$4.19. You got them at like $4.19.
Yeah, and like even today, today is down still, but the day before it had a pretty big spike. It was March 23rd was when it was really down, and then the 24th is when it spiked up into the 500. So, like just keep an eye out for those kind of stocks that are just dropping right away, because regardless of what it is, the market's going to recover from it. So it's only going to go up, maybe not in the coming weeks, maybe not even in the next month or so, but over the course of this year, the market's going to recover. It's just inevitable.
Regarding the stimulus package, obviously once that was approved, then the stock market went up. Like everybody was buying again, investors felt comfortable. But is there still like worries that it's going to drop again? Because in my eyes, I see it dropping again, maybe even lower than how it was before. What are you guys' thoughts on that? Ram?
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, everything is so emotional right now. A lot of fear and still uncertainty that I think the markets are reacting very quickly to any bit of good news, right? So we talked this. Yeah. So that's great comment. Great comment. Now, what I like to say is that, we talked about this yesterday. Right now, if your viewers are not investing in the stock market, like right now is a great time.
That's good shit right there.
That's great shit. And that's actually, so that's one of my,
that's awesome.
That's one of my picks. That's one of my picks, Aaron. So we'll get into Boeing. But my analogy is this, right? If you're a guy and you want to go buy a shirt from Polo, Ralph Lauren, right? You go to Lord & Taylor or you go to a Macy's, that shirt will cost you $50. If you get that same exact shirt from Marshalls or TJ Maxx, it will cost you $30. There's no difference in the shirt. It's made by the same company. It holds the same value. Right now, stocks are Marshalls and TJ Maxx. They're at a discount. I think that once we get out of this bumpy, chaotic, uncertain time, things are going to not only get back to where they were, which is all-time highs, they're going to exceed. And the one thing to remember when you're investing, and I'm more
your money and they invest it and they diversify it throughout many different companies. They don't put it all into one company just so you don't have the chance of losing it all at one moment. But like you were saying, Rem, there's been no 20-year period where the U.S. stock market has not gone up. That literally bases like their whole ideas at Acorns and Betterment. You put in money every week. Like I have automatic deposits set up for $100 every Monday. One of them, and then there's different investing accounts. There's retirement accounts, and it really is like right now I'm already like plus $50 on what I invested, and that was just I invested that like a week ago, not
Exactly.
even. So it's just like, it really is a good way to do it. And I think right now is a good time if you're going to put any extra money you have into that, because stocks are definitely going to go up once we're through this whole virus thing. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. Dean, and you got anything to say?
No, I mean, you guys, we basically touched everything there. But yeah, if you're new in the stocks, or even if you're not, now is definitely the time to buy. I'm definitely loading a lot of money in there. So, with no sports on too, it's something to bet on. So I'll take it.
Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Before we get, go ahead, Rem. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit because, you guys.
Oh, we're losing Rem. We're losing Rem.
He might go out.
All right. We're going to try to get Rem back in here. Dean, what are one of your conspiracy theories? I want to hear what you had to say before we get into specific stocks.
I already, about the coronavirus, that was the one with where it started in the wet markets. That was my conspiracy theory.
So what if in China, considering the fact that their only biological testing facilities are located in Wuhan, China, is that just a coincidence, or is that what we think it is?
All right. Well, now you're talking about like a national kind of conspiracy theory that's affecting the whole entire world. I mean, who knows? I mean, maybe down the road, people will dive into that, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of YouTube videos once this pandemic's over. Who knows? There might even be YouTube videos now about some conspiracies, but I mean, to say that, I think it might be a little far-fetched. Here we go. We got Remy back. You hear Rem?
Yeah, we got Rem back.
Yeah.
Rem, what were you talking about?
Yeah, sorry. I think the fact that, honestly, this coronavirus has had so many people on the COD servers that it's literally crashing the internet. But
100%.
Just on the COD servers?
Just Warzone. Just Warzone.
Okay.
Over 6 million people, bro.
Yeah. So, like I was saying, though, I mean, your own host, Bones, you guys love betting. You love making money in the short term. So one thing that I've recently gotten opened up to is options trading in the stock market. And we talked about this a little bit yesterday, guys. It's like how people are cashing in right now. Yeah, the stock market doesn't look pretty. People are cashing in on it dropping. So if you guys know what shorting is, and I'll just mention a couple examples. So a couple weeks ago,
full screen.
I bought a put, right? So when you're talking about options, you either buy puts or you buy calls. If you think it's going to go up, you're going to be invested in calls. If you think it's going to go down, you're going to be invested in puts. If you guys, I strongly recommend downloading Robinhood. It's a free trading app, super easy to use. Enable options trading. I got Carnival Cruise Lines on a put when it was trading at like $20 in the middle of last week. It was at like around $7. Put in a couple, $200. Ended up cashing out, with just about $1,000. And like, dude,
I got to start doing those, man. Yeah.
Dude, even Eddie got in on it too, right? Give his example.
So I picked up the phone. I call Eddie. I'm like, yo, Eddie, like this is killing it right now. Like,
for anyone who doesn't know, Eddie's our social media manager. Love the kid.
Shout out to Ed.
Eddie Julio shouts out. What's up, boy?
Kills it on the Twitter game. So I call Eddie, your guy's own producer, and I'm like, Eddie, you got to try this, bro. Like, so he takes the S&P, which is like an index. It's 500 large companies. 500. Exactly. And dude, he texts me like 2 days later. He's like, bro, I'm up like almost $2,000 on this. And it's high risk. It's high risk, but high reward. And, I think moving forward, we're definitely not in the clear yet. I expect the markets to kind of, fall back down when we realize I think we're going to be inside for a couple more weeks. But I'm going to start looking in the other ways. I'm going to start buying calls, right? And I think things are going to be back to, maybe normal at the end of 2020. So just something to look forward to. Options trading, Robinhood. It definitely fills that sports gambling void. I promise.
And that's what I need right now.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I know
a lot
do.
of people need it.
Yeah.
But I just want to say that just recently, like I've only really started investing in the past month, and it wasn't just because of the virus. I just feel like it was because I was getting older and I want to start saving my money. And if I have $7,000 in my savings, like you might as well put the money to work. So just like Aaron was saying, the compound interest, that's like the main thing with investing your money. You get paid those dividends, and at the end it just goes straight back in instead of taking your money out, and you'll just keep growing your money. So it's a good way to do it. And I mean, we might have a lot of beginners listening, but there's no better time to start than now. So
100%.
Get into it. So I want to pull this up right here. What are your thoughts on investing into cannabis stock?
Oh,
Personally,
well,
I'm going to invest in cannabis stock sometime very soon. I'm still doing research. Like I said, I just started in like the past month. I don't want to put it into something that I'm not sure about. So I'm still doing research. I actually enjoy it a lot, like reading about the stock market and all its implications. So I'm excited about the cannabis stocks, and I think they're ready for a steep increase just due to the fact that I think most states are going to legalize it in the coming years. So, Dean, you
yeah, not
first.
even like
What are
with
your thoughts?
legalization. I saw an article and an interview with some, um, owners of marijuana stores, and basically they're running out of their stock just because it's such high demand right now. Everyone's obviously home. Everyone's just trying to get their hands on some weed, and just smoke it at their house. So right now, to answer kind of Greg's question there, maybe the boat has sailed for right now in investing in actual cannabis stock, just because, I mean, I haven't checked it all. I don't know the numbers, but I can only imagine that it's very inflated right now, the stock, just because of, the sales over the last few weeks have probably been tremendous. So the stock for these companies have probably been going up, and they're probably at a pretty good point right now. Maybe they go down, maybe they keep skyrocketing throughout this pandemic. But I think for me, at least, I think the boat has sailed. Maybe I'll get into it after this coronavirus kind of, goes by and runs its course.
All right, Rem.
Yeah. So, Greg, thank you for the questions. Good questions. So I've been unfortunately investing in cannabis stocks for, I've been invested in them for probably about a little over a year now. So about a year ago, the big ones that come to mind are Aurora Cannabis. So Aurora Cannabis trades under the ticker ACB. Canopy Growth trades under CGC. Those are some of the bigger ones. I got in at like $10 a share, and present day they are trading at $1. That's over the last year. Over the last week, it is up 40%. I just bought a lot more yesterday. I think it's all in. It's the cheapest it's going to be.
So what was the stock name again?
Aurora Cannabis, ACB, and then CGC, Canopy Growth Stock. Let's hope.
Yeah, it's literally $1.
Bro, they're dirt cheap. And bro, I invested a decent amount when they were at like $10, so I'm hurting. But I'm holding on. At this point, I'm holding on to it. I think I live in Illinois, right? So Illinois legalized recreational marijuana. It's a good product. I'll tell you that. I think it's a matter of time before we're seeing it legalized across the board. And these are the big players. These are the big players in that space. So I think if you got some money sitting in your savings account collecting dust, why not have some fun with it and invest in some cannabis stocks?
Okay,
I just bought some right now.
Bam. There you go. Let's all just buy them. The price is going to go up. Let's get it. All right. So, Rem, what are some of your stock picks regarding the coronavirus as opposed to cannabis?
For sure. So somebody already took mine. You got some smart listeners for sure. Boeing, dude. Boeing is trading at about $180 today. Boeing makes airplanes. They make defense systems. They are, yep, there it is. They are a company that the United States won't let see fail. Like, they are just too important. I still think that $180 is really cheap for them. Why not invest some in Boeing? And Boeing's just been getting beaten, dude. Because before the coronavirus, do you guys remember 737 MAX? They had planes that were setting to nosedive with passengers on them, and 2 of them crashed and killed everybody on board. So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, bro, it was a bad year for Boeing. Really bad year for Boeing.
And did the stock go down from that?
What's that?
Like, did the stock affect? Like,
yes,
did it change at all from that? Okay.
Yeah, so they were already hurting from those things. A lot of negative press. There you go. Crash 3 planes and have 100 planes grounded. Still doing good. So I like Boeing. I think it's just a safe buy. And it's, like I said, it's TJ Maxx stock, man. It's on a discount. It's bargain shopping. I like Hilton hotels. I like all the hotels, really. Some of these Hiltons and Marriotts, they're just companies that you don't like. In 20 years, do you think you won't see Hiltons or Marriotts? I don't think so. So invest in those Hiltons. And then a stock to watch. If anybody's working from home, I guarantee you they're using this software. It's called Zoom, trades under ZM. It's amazing to see that through all of this coronavirus shit, it's a software that you can it's like a Skype. They've only been going up. So I think moving forward, it's just great implications for software companies that can enable you to work from home, invest in Zoom. And my last pick, this is a lesser known company, but they started in China and they're a coffee company. It's called Luckin Coffee. It trades under LK.
Yeah, I heard about this. Yeah.
Dude, they're taking off, and because of this exactly, dude, and they're blowing up, and they took a big hit from obviously coronavirus in China. LK, Luckin Coffee, I like them a lot.
Okay, I like it, Rem. Like it.
It's good stuff.
What are your guys' thoughts on Uber? Aaron says that he's heavily invested in Uber.
That's awesome.
What are your thoughts on this? I feel like
I know they're trying to get into like the automotive car service, and I mean, at one point they were talking about like flying taxis, like with drones. I don't know if that's in the near future or not. But yeah, I mean, I don't see Uber really going anywhere. I know they took a pretty big hit before this whole pandemic started, but I mean, I can only see them going up. So
okay, all right, boys. Now I do want to just mention real quick. I saw a lot of comments on this earlier. When is my mixtape dropping? Let me just say, I know it's been a long time. But it's pretty much here. It's pretty much ready. I'm just waiting for to pick out which songs and place them where. I know a lot of people are waiting for it. I'm excited to release it. I think a lot of it is really good. So just stay tuned because I'll be providing some more information. I'm thinking the release date is going to be May 8th. It's called Clarity. I think it's going to release May 8th on Spotify, Apple Music, all your favorite streaming services. So just want to say I appreciate you guys waiting, and I hope you like it. All right. So now that we got through the stocks, we got through COVID-19, I want to do a little new section we got. Some quick trivia. You guys got your pieces of paper ready? Because let's get after this. Okay.
Let's see what you got, Chesney. What's the topic here?
It's a bunch of random topics, random fucking questions. We're gonna pick a winner from you two. We're just gonna pick a winner from you two. It's gonna be fire. All right. So you guys ready? You got pen and paper?
And people watching, feel free to Remy, hide your comments so we
Yeah,
don't
I'm
cheat.
not.
But
Yeah,
feel free
sure.
to post your comments.
Yeah, everybody watching, post your answers. I'm gonna give 10 seconds after I ask the question because I don't want people looking it up. So,
I like it.
All right, number 1. Who has the most current COVID-19 cases? This is the easy
Like,
one.
what do you mean? Who? Like
who? What country?
what
All right.
country? Oh, okay.
This,
that's a cool.
yeah, but the thing is, I had this question before all the news dropped like an hour ago.
Right.
I'm giving you guys a freebie right here. You better get it right. Let me see them. Post it up. Bam. The US of A. All right, you're both 1 for 1. Next, what country with at least 10,000 cases has the highest level of infections per capita? So per million people, who has the highest amount of cases? Take your guess. There's three that are really close. I'll give you that.
All right, that's tough.
So we're rocking with one answer then.
Yeah, you're picking for the most. All right, I see some in the comments. All right, boys, throw them up. What do you got?
Can you see that?
Oh yeah, Ram, we got the same thing.
Nope, you're all wrong. Switzerland is the number 1 with per capita that have at least 10,000 cases. There's also like Iceland is really high up there, and then some random countries just because they don't have a lot of people. But you got to think about it like that.
That's true.
Okay, so you're both 1 for 2. What 2 American states do not observe daylight savings time? There's 2 states that opted out when the U.S. instituted daylight savings time. Do you guys know which ones they are? I'll give you a little extra time on this. I want to see some answers in the comments too. What do you guys think?
That's tough, bro.
Oh, it's tough. Yeah,
that's a real trivia question right there.
I'm not fucking around, boys. I'm serious.
I'm guessing at this point.
All right, boys, throw them up. What do you guys got?
Oh,
Remy, Arizona and Alaska. Dean, Florida and Iowa. Remy gets the win on this one because he got 1 of 2 correct. Arizona is one of them. Hawaii is the other one.
Oh, I was going to say Hawaii is the other one.
Yeah. Good guess with Arizona, though. I was surprised. I thought that was going to be the harder one.
I thought I heard that once sometime. I guess I was
all right,
right.
so Remy's got 2. Dean's got 1. All right, next. What is a duel between 3 people called? A duel between 3 people. What is that called?
okay.
Let me see your answers, boys, in the comments. People don't know. People don't know. They ain't commenting shit.
I don't know.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. A trilogy or a standoff? You're both wrong on that one. It's pretty intuitive. It's called a truel. Believe it or not.
Oh.
Greg says threesome. You were close.
That's what we're having right now.
Yeah, right,
right.
basically.
In miles, how far is the Earth located from the sun?
Oh,
let's go, boys. In miles. 1 astronomical unit, otherwise known as.
Oh man, I forgot. Man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're gonna have some big space podcasts coming up. I love that shit. Love that shit. All right, ready? 3. Wait. Before you go, Bobby says 25 miles.
Yo.
All right.
Shit.
All right, ready? 3, 2, 1. Throw them up. 50 million. Dean, you said 38,000.
I don't fucking know.
Remy wins that 92.75 million miles. Close to 93 million miles. That's 1 astronomical unit. Take notes. All right.
How many light years?
So Remy's up here, Dean. You need these last 2 to draw a tie, and then we go to the tiebreaker.
Okay.
You need these last 2. All right. What is the only country to have played in every single World Cup? I like this one. This is a good one. Let's see the post in the comments. Come on, boys. Come on, Quam. I know you gotta know this shit. Where's it at? All right, 5 seconds.
All right.
Need more time, Dean?
I just have 2 in my head, but I'll go with this one.
Okay. All right, boys. Throw them up. The correct answer is Brazil.
Nigeria.
Good shit, Mo.
Nigeria's always in
He's
it.
going with
man. They're always in
Nigeria.
it.
Quam didn't even hear the question.
Somewhere in the world, Kwame Adatovo is smiling.
All right. Last question. Dean can't win, but how many ounces does a regulation NFL football weigh? Ounces, or if you want to go pounds, you could put it like that too. But pound is 16 ounces. What do you guys got?
I'm guessing.
Mo says 14. What do you guys have? Throw them up. Hollis says 6.8. 32 ounces. Dean's got 12. Dean will take it on that one between you two because it is 15 ounces. NFL football weighs right under a pound. All right, boys.
That's a good question, though.
I like that. I like the quick trivia. We're gonna keep doing that.
I like it.
Maybe we'll have some more questions next time. But Remington Safarpour getting the first dub in our quick trivia section on No Handle.
Good game. Good game.
It must feel good. Must feel good.
Remy is cheating. Dan says Remy is cheating. Screw you, Dan.
Oh yeah. All right, boys. So now that we got through all that, let's get into some optimistic things to think about. Like what have you guys been doing in quarantine that like maybe some shows, maybe some Xbox or PlayStation games or anything really, like podcasts to listen to? What do you guys recommend for our viewers? And I'd like to see in the comments too what you guys think.
Yeah, definitely shoot your comments in there too. I mean, there's a lot of good shows right on. We're getting we're in a rare age of just great TV, and we really started this quarantine is really making me take advantage of it. For starters, I just started on Netflix real quick with a little taking it back with some Will Ferrell, semi-pro, other guys. Started watching rewatch the Austin Powers movies on Netflix. Great find there. They got all 3 movies on there. What else did I get into? Brooklyn Nine-Nine on Hulu. Highly suggest that show.
Wait, Dean, 1 second, real quick. Hollis makes a great point right here, Rem. The chicken of the cave. That's what they call bats, you know? Chicken of the cave.
That's so
chicken of the cave.
That is some dude. This Danny Hollis guy is
yeah, who the fuck is this
chicken of the cave? Dude, yeah. Honestly, bat is pretty chickeny. You know what I mean? Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, delicious.
Great
as a wise man once said. So
yes, exactly.
All right, Dean, continue. What shows? Brooklyn Nine-Nine, you just said.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Westworld, obviously that's on every Sunday now, the new season on episode 3 right now. Dave on Hulu with Lil Dicky, great show. Highly recommend it. Very funny. Remy, you put me onto this, and we could even dive into it a little bit just because it's so good. The Tiger King on Netflix. I'm sure a lot of our watchers have seen that as well. But yeah, that Joe Exotic is a fucking face. The Sopranos I started rewatching just because. And then tomorrow, Ozark season 3 comes out, which is fire. I don't know if you guys watch Ozark at all.
Oh,
highly recommend it.
I didn't know that was coming out.
Yeah, season 3 drops tomorrow. So I'm excited for that. So I don't know if they're dropping all of it.
I'm going to let you guys talk about this show because I think this has to do with it.
We need to talk.
100%. Yes.
We need to talk about Joe Exotic. Like in the midst of one of the worst pandemics of recent histories, Netflix decides to drop probably the most absurd docu-series I've ever seen, which is just like a look inside of what is big cat trading. I think Mo said something. Dude, that girl, that lady definitely fed her husband 2 tigers.
Yeah.
And then you got this guy out in Oklahoma who is trying to let people know that, hey, this other tiger trader fed her husband to tigers. This didn't happen like 20 years ago. This happened like 3 years ago. And like, this just goes totally unidentified in the news. But Netflix, sure enough, brings it to light in the midst of this fucking crazy pandemic. Totally hilarious, worth everyone's time. I binged it in one day, and I never binge shows.
Same. Yeah, I watched it basically all yesterday. I watched one episode 2 nights before and then binged it all yesterday. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to ruin it for people who haven't seen it, but I totally agree. She definitely killed her husband. She was hot.
She?
No, she was not. She got some fucking bug eyes. But Bobby would probably still hit.
Okay. Well, that's a given.
Yeah, Chesney, you should watch it though. It is a good watch. It's entertaining as fuck.
I'm telling you, I turned it on and I just wasn't interested. I don't know if like the first episode was just not like getting into it. I didn't realize it was going to be about her feeding her husband to a.
Well, that's just like a little. That's surprisingly that's a little part of it. But I think Joe Exotic kind of took it a little far. He didn't have to keep going after the big cat rescue.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I think he kind of fucked it up, and he has a big ego, and he wouldn't let it go. That's my thoughts on it.
I mean, just like in general, I feel like rule of thumb, if you're in the big cat trade in the United States, which I'm not even sure how they manage to breed lions and tigers like under the United States law, but like
right, there's got to be some sort of regulation for that.
And not to mention, like all of his husbands are on meth. Like it is insane. Yeah. It is hard to watch. It's like hard to look away.
Bunch of rednecks running around, breeding tigers. It's a mess. It's exactly what you think it would be. A fucking shit show.
Dean, you just summed up what should be like the summary for it. It's like a bunch of rednecks running around breeding tigers. That is the show.
That's literally it.
Oh jeez. Does this have to do with the show? Does this have to do with the show?
Yeah. So Bhagavan.
Yeah, that's one of the.
Not to get.
Yeah, he's located in South Carolina.
It says more like 9 sleeves.
Yeah. He's like the one the whole time. He's on the outside of this feud, kind of, but he uses the cats to like lure in different wives. He's a weirdo, bro.
Yeah, he'll go to it's very weird. Right. And at the end credits, he actually got busted too. That guy.
All right. Well, one show that I will mention because it's airing tonight, the new season, Tacoma FD. I watched the first season, but I've been seeing like a lot of commercials for it. The new season looks like it's gonna be funny as hell, so I'm gonna watch that shit.
What's that on?
True TV.
Probably trash then.
Yeah, Tacoma.
What do you mean, bro?
Yeah.
It's like the guys who made Super Troopers. It's like a parody of all them. Like it's funny. Yeah, no, it's funny. You should watch it. Rem, you would like it. It's like a kind of Anchorman type humor. So I think you would like it.
Reality show on True TV.
It's not a reality show. It's like it's all fake. Like but it's funny.
Okay. Well, I mean, isn't Super Troopers itself kind of like a parody? So they made a parody of a parody?
Well, you just got to watch it. But the new season drops tonight. I mean, 10 o'clock.
We got plenty of time. You got
plenty of time. So fucking watch that shit. I don't watch a lot of shows.
Yeah, me too. I mean, like, so I'd recommend maybe, watch Contagion if you haven't. I think it's on Netflix.
It is.
I don't know
I saw it on there.
Did you guys see it?
Or maybe that's Pandemic I saw on Netflix.
So Pandemic's a show, but Contagion's a movie with a good cast. And honestly, I was watching it, and if anything, it just scared me more. So like, watchers beware. Like not to spoil it, but like at the end they have the scene with the bat, and I'm like, oh shit, like they literally predicted this shit. But watch Contagion. Other than that, add me on Xbox. I officially caved and bought an Xbox, playing Call of Duty Warzone with the boys from home.
What's your gamer tag? Remtron69?
Remtron 94.
Oh, that was close.
69. Is a valid guess.
All right. All right. So moving on a little bit, we're getting into sports a little bit here. So if anybody wants to comment questions about sports, we'll open that now. John Bones Jones.
The fuck.
First of all, he shouldn't be the light heavyweight champ of the world anymore. But he still is.
Agreed.
And he was just arrested last night in Albuquerque, New Mexico. He was charged with aggravated DUI, negligent use of a firearm, and possession of an open container. What are you guys' thoughts on that? He was firing shots like by himself, just like outside, and the cops got reported that shots were fired, so they went there, and he was just sitting in his car. Just like when the cops pulled up, he was just sitting in the same spot. What are your thoughts on that? Idiot.
I mean, dude, so John Bones Jones, obviously a distinguished champion. It was 9 years ago last month that he won the light heavyweight championship of the world. 9 years ago last month. I know that because me and John Scher, our buddy from high school, we were actually at that fight at Prudential Center. He won it super young, and like you just have to think like, what is going through this guy's head? He's clearly could be, and he might be the best UFC fighter we've ever seen. And to me, it's just heartbreaking to see him kind of like more or less like throw it away. I know he's still the champ, but like I don't know if he doesn't know how to handle it. His brothers are in the NFL; they're all super athletic, just animals, but like. Dude, I don't know. Dean, what do you think about it?
I think he's just a retard. I mean, you look at if you had to compare him to someone, like I'm just thinking off the top of my head, like in the NFL, he's almost like a Josh Gordon. He could just never get the timing right. I mean, sure, he got that fight in, obviously, which he should have lost. In my personal, just watching it at Kyle's house, I think he should have lost that fight. But
he did lose that fight.
Gordon of the UFC. He just gets a break, and he does it to himself. Though that's really the thing. So I really feel no. I mean, if you're gonna keep doing stupid shit, you don't deserve to be fighting for a belt and to hold your belt.
All right, fair enough. This was also his second DWI, and he was arrested last year on battery charges too. So loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules. Someone tell me what that's from.
Article. He was under the influence.
Yeah,
I think he was.
They found an open container under it. Yeah, he was drunk. He was shooting shots just outside. Like you can't be doing that shit, JBJ. You're still a monster, but come on, bro. Focus up. So on the topic of UFC, recently, Dana White announced 2 days ago that they found a venue to hold Khabib Ferguson in. It's not in the United States because obviously we have all these rules and regulations. But Dana White says that the fight will still go on, Khabib Tony, which is all I'm really hoping for because that's going to be one of the greatest fights I think we've ever seen. It got canceled 4 times. This is the 5th time. It better happen. The site or the location is undisclosed as of now, but he'll be announcing it probably 2 weeks from now, right before the fight. Who's going to win, boys?
Khabib. I'm throwing all my money on Khabib.
Dude, yeah. I'm a huge Khabib fan. Khabib, Dagestan. Dad wasn't born too far from Dagestan. Love it. Love what he's about. I think he's super serious, as you can tell. I mean, after that McGregor fight, like, he took none of what McGregor said lightly. He means business. I love him, dude. I like Khabib. I'll be on Khabib for a while. So I hope, dude, if this fight happens, it's going to compete with some of the best, most watched UFC fights simply because there's nothing else on TV.
I think it would compete with the most
Literally,
watched
everyone-
UFC fights either way. But the fact that nobody's on TV or nothing else is on TV, you're right. It's going to have like crazy numbers for sure.
Mhm.
I think everyone's going to buy it. Like, what else are you going to watch?
I
Besides
dude,
Tacoma FD.
right. John Scher, it says in the comments, John Scher says the fight's going to be in Jacksonville.
Jacksonville. Really? I heard that it wasn't going to be in the United States, but I guess we will see. And that's coming from John, so that's a reliable source.
Oh,
But,
absolutely.
Yeah,
I
100%.
think that about wraps it up for the day, boys. From your boys at No Handle, we hope you guys liked it. We're going to have Remy back in the future, of course. It's my boy, correspondent in Chicago. Love you to death, kid.
Yeah,
Stay safe. Everyone stay safe. You guys got any closing comments? Dean, you first, then Rem.
No, I'm Rem. Just thanks for coming on. Appreciate all the followers we got here, all the comments too. Really appreciate it, and we'll be back for sure. Nothing better to do during this pandemic, so we'll definitely be back.
Facts. Thinking about having a podcast this weekend.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, absolutely. No Handle. Thank you to the guys at No Handle. I appreciate the work that you guys do. You're entertaining us during this time where nothing else is absolutely on. Thanks for having me on. Chesney, roommate in college for 2 years. Proud of what you're doing. Keep doing it, boys, and we'll talk to you soon.
That's my brother right there, baby. Love you all to death. Thanks, guys, for commenting. Don't forget to subscribe. Help us out a little bit. Maybe like retweet some of our shit because we're trying to get this shit out there. And if you guys want, if any listeners want to come on the podcast, just text me. Let me know. I'm open into having anyone. So, yeah, just let me know. Love you guys. And from your boys at No Handle, stay safe. Wash your fucking hands. Let's get quarantined, baby.
Coming soon.
See you guys.
Later, guys.
Throw this fucking mask on.
Hey.
Nice touch.
Back to the quarantine, boys.
Nice touch.
Peace.